What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the BREWtally Speaking Podcast, the official podcast of MetalNexus.net, where you can get all your show reviews, concert photos, and the latest going-ons in the rock and metal world. And with me, as always, is Daniel Terry. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Holy shit, that's really delicious. I'm doing really good. I just cracked open a beer. One of my Rochester Mills milkshake stouts, the holiday pack. This is the Imperial Maple Milkshake Stout. It is, obviously, as you heard me say, very delicious. So, doing good. Went and traveled around downtown with my wife, taking photos of all the fog that we got. So, it was a nice little productive Friday evening.
Sounds like it. I was home all day with my kids and wife, and it was good.
You didn't have to work all day?
All day.
Wow.
Yeah, we had some flash flooding issues in our area, so we did not go out.
Sounds like a perfect time for a movie mosh or something like that.
Yeah, except that I'd have to drive down to Joe's house.
Well, you know, with your family, you can movie mosh with your family.
That's true. Lots of broken bones, lots of elbows thrown.
This episode's guest is Michael Starr of Steel Panther. I don't know how you wouldn't be aware of who Steel Panther is if you're into, this podcast or rock or hard rock or whatever. This is a fun one.
Very heavily requested band on discography discussion.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm always kind of like, it's like they are a real band, but there's a lot more like there's a lot more.
They're a real band.
There's a lot more like serious bands I want to cover before we go that route. Although we did do Death Clock, so and that's not even a real band.
I was going to say, that those aren't even real people, technically.
Nope, just cartoons. But that was an April Fool's episode.
Ah, there it is. There's always a hook with discography discussion.
Every time, hook, line, and sinker.
No, this was a lot of fun. This actually kind of, in leading up to this, because we've been sitting on this for a little while, it kind of reminded me a bit of prepping to interview Michael from Gwar, where it's like, okay, like this is kind of a sort of a character. So I wasn't sure like if he was gonna answer questions honestly, or if it was gonna be a thing of like, oh, I'm Michael Starr of Steel Panther. So I kind of tried to ride the line, and it was kind of nice having some friends that have toured with Steel Panther over the last couple of years. So I felt like there's a little bit of a familiarity there with it, but I definitely flew too close to the sun on one question on this, where it was just like, nope, guess I wasn't supposed to ask that.
Backing up, yeah.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny. How you asked him a very Dan Terry question, where you're like, "So you guys ever gonna go like, brutal?" which I thought was kind of funny.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, like these are kind of fun to do, because it's like, obviously the band takes what they do seriously, but it's also all in fun. It's a very fine line. I think it's actually a really great band for this podcast, because I think, yes, we do, take what we do seriously, but obviously if you listen to the intros and outros and such, we're about having a good time and poking fun at ourselves and other people and so forth. So, and the funny thing is too, is this was the day after I did the Tommy Victor interview, so like they couldn't have been more drastically different.
yeah, that would be that's very true.
This week also kind of started, interestingly enough, we dropped our full week of Tom Smith of the Acacia Strain. Those episodes seem to have been doing really well. A lot of you listening to it have commented on Twitter and Facebook and so forth. PRP actually picked up on it. Thank you to them. I can't say I'm surprised that they picked up on it, but it was kind of interesting. There's been a few theories that a couple of people who have listened to the episode have kind of thrown out our way. All I can say really is that I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of that, but it is interesting to read the internet comments of people being like ranking all of the Acacia Strain albums, commenting on past members, present members, is this just a cash grab? Is this? Is this that? It's interesting just to read internet comments and just kind of be like, apparently, and no surprise, no one listened to the thing, because you can tell, because some of the things were addressed in there.
Yeah, and it's so funny reading comments, because you're just like, how did you get from point A to point B? Like,
yeah, it's I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It is a thing, and I think that's kind of been the interesting thing about in the last year to two, where we've kind of been making news websites consistently with the stuff that happens on our show. It's just interesting to see how comment sections will kind of take something and how far away from what actually was said goes, and then it turns into all these other things. I mean, I guess that's just what the internet does. It takes things and twists it all around and distorts it and gives you a new perspective of something that never even was.
Well, it's kind of like the Babelfish principle. You know, you type something in, you want to translate it to another language, and who really knows what you're going to get, you know?
Right.
And, I think it's funny to me, too, the amount of people that listen to or read the headline and then they conjecture when they could have just listened to the podcast and gotten those answers that they wanted, because then it's like, to us at least, yeah, and I'm calling you guys out because you guys don't listen to the podcast anyway. So if you're listening, then great, you did a good thing.
Yeah, I think it is pretty cool that we're starting to get a lot more people saying what they liked about the episode or kind of communicating with us, and that's something I really do hope is a trend that keeps continuing into this year. We comment all the time that we're kind of in this weird vacuum where we do the interviews, we talk with these people, and the publicists and or Dan and myself or the guests themselves, will kind of say like, oh, you did a really great job and so on and so forth. But like, we see the numbers of what the show is doing, but like hardly anyone comments. So you're just kind of like, I don't know, was it good? Do people just not care? Like the numbers would say otherwise, but for the most part, no one says anything unless it's something that has made a headline.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's been nice that at least we're starting to get a little bit of engagement from people to kind of help us know, like, did you like the two-parter? Oh, I really liked the two-parter. I liked how each thing kind of was its own thing and separate from, each episode, so it wasn't just more or less a continuation, but it was a continuation at the same time. So it just kind of does make me feel a little bit better about doing something a little bit more adventurous like we did with this whole week of Tom and doing two separate interviews over the course of a month and a half apart.
No, to be honest, I was kind of surprised whenever you got this interview because I just wasn't, it kind of came out of left field and I was not expecting it, and it's definitely a little bit more fun, in my opinion, than some of the more serious tone that we've had.
Well, that's kind of the fun thing, too. Like, I know we said that we've been sitting on some stuff, and this is one that we sat on because, we didn't really talk about the new record a whole lot on this. We didn't really talk about the tour a whole lot in this, so it just kind of it exists in its own world, which kind of is fun because then you can just kind of put them out whenever. So I felt like in light of kind of the real heaviness of the interviews we did with Tom, where it's like, yeah, they're a little lighthearted at times, but they're more serious and it's more driven based on a serious conversation of the art side of creating music and so forth, and that aspect of being in a band and whatnot. And this is just like, getting your dick sucked and all that kind of shit
and elongated.
Yeah.
as a result. I mean, come on.
So it's a lot of fun. So I think without further ado, we'll stop fucking cockteasing you and we'll get into my interview with Michael Starr of Steel Panther, and we will talk to you all afterwards. Hello, Michael. How are you doing?
What's up, John? I'm good today. Thank you. Bring it.
All right, here we go. Get right into it. So I had the pleasure of talking with Michael Starr, vocalist for Steel Panther, whose latest record, Heavy Metal Rules, is out now. I'm going to tell people for the rest of the day that I had lunch with you. I hope that's okay.
That's fine. I can't wait to have that steak. I'm glad you're buying.
Well, I hope hope you're okay with underwear steak.
That's nice. I like that.
I guess that's as good as any segue. I was going to ask you, how's your dick doing? Because I don't know if I've ever heard one person tell the whole world that everyone can suck my dick so much as on this new record.
I think it's actually grown a couple inches for getting it sucked so much. But, some women have different styles of, how do you say it, blowjobs, right? They have different styles. And some people try to sell those pumps to make your penis bigger. I don't think that works. And but what does work
pills?
is
do you think the pills work?
I don't think, the pill, Viagra works if you want to have a stuffy nose. But that's what cocaine's for.
Right.
So Viagra. You know what? I was selling for a little bit after those, like some cocaine chopped up with Viagra. So it just knocks out. You get a boner, and your nose is clear, and you're high. So it's actually a win-win.
I do definitely know that I think whoever came up with Viagra probably did a bunch of cocaine first, because I know you can fuck like a champion on cocaine.
Oh, I think it was invented was 25 who invented that shit.
Kind of speaking to the album a little bit more, though, I really enjoyed that this album in the sense that there are a few moments that really surprised me and what you're doing vocally. Like, I'm not your bitch. Kind of, I kept thinking about it, and I was like, is this possibly the best chorus that Eric Martin and Mr. Big never wrote? And even kind of some of your lower kind of, I won't call them gutturals, but, you kind of got your little lower register going, and it kind of makes me wonder, when are we going to see maybe more of an actual, like, more brutal metal side of you coming out?
We take it like one record at a time, and we're trying to like evolve as musicians. You still got me?
Yeah, I still got you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and and sometimes you just, like, Satchel writes the tunes, right? So sometimes he'll bring a song in, and I'll be like, what? And then I sing on it, and I'm like, what? This is so different and so unique for us. But I think that for people, when you first hear the new record, you're like, this is really different. Like, all I want to do is Fuck Myself Tonight is a classic Steel Panther song. Like, you're like, oh, that's the old familiar Steel Panther, that I know and love. And then as the record goes on, it's different. It's not the same. Obviously and we've also even changed the storyline of the songs too as well. Kind of, like I've always maintained, and for years, our records reflect where we are in our life. So, everybody has experienced being with a girlfriend who thinks you're going to do all the shit, or a girl being with a boyfriend who thinks you're going to fucking cook and clean and suck his dick. So it's a relatable song.
Kind of speaking to that, and I'll say that I do a little bit of research just to kind of see what questions maybe people have redundantly asked and what's not really been touched. And, I mean, given the fact of how many STDs you guys have, that explains why people probably don't touch a lot of things from you guys. But that being said, I was pleasantly surprised to see a lot of fans and critics kind of shitting on this record, considering, like you said, I think this is probably one of the more adventurous records you've kind of put out while still having the Steel Panther vibe to it. So it kind of really surprised me to see people that lauded the albums before suddenly are just like, well, I don't know if this is cool anymore. And it's like, no, it's still fucking cool. I don't know if people are not latching on to the fact that you guys can grow too.
Well, I think that, for me, I know how it is for myself personally. When I put on Van Halen 5, Dive Her Down, I listened to it, I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't like this record. And then after a while, I was like, I fucking love this record. And then I remember when Van Halen 1984 came out, I loved the song Jump. But then I heard the rest, I'm like, what the fuck? I dropped that away. I don't like this. But now I love it. So it's just a matter of, like the shock value of first hearing the record. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Because, we're not a formulated band where we have formulated hit music. That's just cookie cutter. Hopefully you sing along to it, but it's just the way it is. Every record we've put out, we've had negative responses to it. Hell, on this one site, the guy said, if our rating system had a 0, I would have gave him a 0. And I thought, man, you can't be more hated than that. We win. Sorry, man.
No, I was just going to say, it reminds me of when I talked to Michael from Guar, and, I kind of had said, like, in light of, at the time, the Pussy Melter pedal fiasco was going on, literally, like, within a day or so. And, I kind of had said, I feel like people have kind of forgotten that rock and roll is meant to be kind of fun, and in some instances, it gets really meta and kind of pokes fun at itself while also being serious, and you kind of have to go along for the ride. And I feel like at some point people are just, in this overly PC culture, people are just kind of forgetting that. And it does make me wonder, in light of some of the things that maybe you guys have experienced in your careers in the last couple of years, do you feel maybe there is an expiration date on this at all? Or do you think that rock and roll will kind of overcome at the end of the day?
Man, it's hard to say. I think we're kind of like we were once cucumbers. And then we got pickled. And you can store pickles for fucking years and still eat them. So I think that Steel Panther is a lot like that. Once you're heavy metal, once you're pickled, done. That's it. I'll give you heavy metal. That's like, this is what we do. This is what we love. And the one thing that I think that people take away from our shows is when they come see us, they can feel that we actually love what we do and we take it seriously and it's important to us. And we have a fucking blast doing it. It's infectious. It's like looking at 5 hot girls doing cocaine in an apartment on the coffee table. It's attractive. It makes you want to come in and fuck them all. And that's how we feel we are.
Absolutely. Speaking of fucking, a mutual friend of ours, Chad Nicefield, I was talking to him yesterday, and I go, so I'm talking to Michael today, do you have anything fun to bring up? And he goes, ask him about the time that he let you fuck his girlfriend.
And I want to let you know it was awkward because he wanted to watch. So that, to me, that's always kind of weird, especially if the dad's watching. That's even more awkward. But, yeah, so he was watching, and, at first I was uncomfortable, but then, it's fine. But it was weird because he wanted to clean up afterwards. I don't know. I don't understand that type of thing, but to each his own.
So you're not into cucking then?
No, it's not my thing.
Fair enough. But more to the point of having, bringing up Wilson and those guys, something I've noticed over the last couple of years of your guys' career is you've done a really great job of taking out young and upcoming bands, whether it be Wilson, whether it be Crowbot as of recently, and a handful of other bands. And it does kind of make me wonder, is that intentional that you're kind of putting out the ladder and bringing out some of these newer rock bands for your fans to see and just kind of maybe doing for you what others didn't upon your, climbing up the ranks and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We really we get a bunch of submissions. And we go through them. I go through them initially, and then as a band, after I, make my choices, we go through them together as a band, and then we get our agents' input, and it's a strategic hit when we do that. So, for us, people did take us out. We went out with a lot of bands, but the thing about us is we are such different type of show that a lot of people didn't want that going on before their show, because I think a lot of bands take themselves really serious. So for us to come on before them, it just wasn't a good bill. So we gutted it out doing our own headlining stuff for a long time. And whenever anything that was, presented to us, we would try and take it if we could. And, that's what we did to Def Leppard, the Guns N' Roses, and Judas Priest. And thankfully, we are able to insert ourselves into these festivals all over the world. That is really, really, that's like the best place for us to play, because we're not opening up for somebody per se. It's more of a, people can just be there because they bought a ticket and they're forced to watch us, and we win them over.
Absolutely.
Or they hate us.
It does kind of make me wonder, too, do you view yourselves as kind of mentors on how to navigate being in an actively touring band in today's newer, crop of bands coming up?
Yeah, the most important thing is, number one, you have to be able to sell tickets. So that comes down to how good are you live. So if you're good live, people will want to see you when you come back again. It's like going to see a movie. If you go see a movie at opening week and then you don't like it, you tell your friends, yeah, I saw it, I didn't like it. So then your friends aren't fired up to go. But if you come back and go, oh my God, you got to see this band, it's fucking funny, I had such a great time, and it's your buddy telling you, then you're going to go. So the most important thing in this day and age of not much physical product being sold, your lion's share of your income comes from performing live and selling shirts. And so if you can't bring it live, you're going to have problems.
Absolutely. Something that was kind of interesting, trying to just look for your social media and so forth and kind of get a better, maybe find some funny thing that you've been tweeting about or whatever, is I did find that you did a duet with your wife a few months back, and it makes me wonder, is that another avenue maybe that you would like that you're actively pursuing, just kind of working on something with her, or is that more of like a one-off thing?
God, are you talking about that blonde chick?
Yes. I think coincidentally, I think the song was called Shallow as well, so I don't know.
Yeah, she left me.
It's
a tough one, it happens. Like I've been trying to do this for a long time. It just doesn't work out. So that's why we always go on tour.
So you can find another blonde lady to try to do a duet with, whether in person or...
I like you. John, I knew I liked you from the beginning that we started this interview when we were talking about blowjobs. Because, number one, blowjobs are killer. And number two, my brother's middle name is John. How about that?
Well, is it with an H or without? Because I'm not biblical.
You Jon? I
am Jon. I'm the anomaly, I guess.
Nice. No, you're not. That's we have grocery stores named John in California.
Ah.
Well, they're called Johns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something that was, kind of interesting. I saw you guys on this last one where you kind of celebrated your club days, as it were, playing a lot of the songs that inspired you guys to want to be a band. And, I think a lot of people have seen those videos of various famous musicians coming up, Chad Kroeger playing drums with you guys and so forth, and Kelly Clarkson over the years. And it makes me wonder who's someone that you haven't jammed with that you would love to?
Eddie Van Halen. That's the one guy I want to jam with, as far as myself personally. I would like to play all the classic VH songs with him. That would be really fun. Like, I'm talking about David Lee Roth era Van Halen, right?
Yeah.
And then for drummer, I would like to play with Tommy Lee. That would be really fun.
In light of sort of some of the recent going-ons between you and the band that he's a part of, do you feel at least he would do it? Because I feel like he's more in the spirit of having fun.
Oh, he's jammed with us so many times. I mean, this is just like when they were like, idling back in the day. He'd come to the show with Pamela, and get up and jam, and she would dance on the pole, and we would have a great time. So he's totally fun. Who else? As far as like, in light of what's going on, that is just, who cares? I mean, heavy metal rules, right? So we're just like, jam. Everybody should jam.
I absolutely agree. I was talking with Tommy Victor of Prong the other day, and I was saying that I feel like, you see pop and rap collaborating at least to help lift each other up, to lift the genre up. And unfortunately, I just don't feel like that happens a lot in rock. And I feel like you guys maybe could be the olive branch extended in a lot of directions.
Well, we're trying. We really are trying. I mean, we've tried to, we've had a lot of guests on our records, and we've had a lot of show and get up and jam. And I think that would be really fun. But I think that a lot of musicians with their particular band that have sold records and have established themselves are afraid to connect themselves with our brand of getting laid and doing blow and fucking bitches to themselves, even though they want to do that because every human being likes to fuck. So I think that's the crux of the problem is they're scared to brand up with us because, it's kind of like hanging out, if you're an athlete, hanging out with a guy who sells steroids. You don't want to be associated with that, right?
Right.
So I think that people kind of trip on that a little bit, and they shouldn't because, man, you got to be able to speak your mind no matter what it is. And if you don't, then you're fucking giving in to the man.
Absolutely. I know I got you for a couple more minutes. Tour starts this Sunday in Boston. What can people expect from this tour?
Oh, well, first I'm going to go to the game, and then I'm going to head over to soundcheck, and then we're going to soundcheck because it's our first show. We're going to make sure everything sounds killer, and then we're going to bust out our new set. We've done it. We did a small little tour for 2.5 weeks about a month ago, and we did some of this set, and then we flew to Germany and did some of this set. But it's basically, it consists of 3 or 4 new songs, and then all the classic Steel Panther songs. So you won't, if you don't come to the show, you're not going to be like, oh my God, they didn't play Community Property. We're going to do all our stuff because it's important. And we'll shove as much as we can into the hour and a half that we are allowed to play.
Well, I'm very excited to see you guys when you come back through to Grand Rapids in a couple of weeks. And thanks for taking the time to chat, and looking forward to the show in a couple of weeks.
All right, John, be cool, man, and thanks for the interview.
Thank you. So that was my conversation with Michael Starr. I felt a little bit like a lot lizard doing that interview, talking about fellatio and so forth from my car. But hey, that's what Lunchtime Quickies are all about, and that's what we provided for you here on this podcast, is a very intimate, quick quickie session.
I mean, absolutely, and that's what lunch breaks are for, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't find a glory hole at your local sauna or something nearby, I mean, you just got to do what you got to do to get your rocks off. And what better co-host to do such a thing than Michael Starr? I mean, of the illustrious Steel Panther, the guy's done it all and seen it all and smoked it all and snorted it all, I'm sure.
Right.
Fucked it all too, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%, all of it.
Yeah, I think we sufficiently, sucked everything out of this one that we could. There was no residue left over. Still riding the high of this one, though. This was a lot of fun, like we said in the intro and so forth. I think Michael is just, if you've never seen Steel Panther live, I've had the pleasure of getting to see them a couple of times here in town and with the dudes in Wilson, and they just are undeniably fun. I dare you to go to a Steel Panther show and not have a good time. It might be crass, it might be crude, but the riffs are loud, the solos are awesome, and the jokes are poorly in taste, but make you laugh nonetheless.
Yep, definitely. The poor taste is front and center. I think that's part of the reason why I've just never really known how to approach this band, because I know that it's supposed to be funny, but like they do such a good job of emulating that sound at that time that like it's hard to not be like, this band is so dumb. But then they're like, no, that's the joke, that it's dumb, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's in the day and age, basically, where, we have, like you were saying earlier, like Death Clock. Like, everyone loves Death Clock, but I think, like Steel Panther, the music is good.
Correct, yes.
And I think that's the thing, it's kind of weird. Like, when this new record came out, and as Michael and I kind of addressed, it's weird. This record sounds really good. It's got fucking great production and just great songs. But, when reading the reviews from other, magazines and so forth, everyone's like, the joke's over. It's not funny anymore. And it's like, well, why was it funny? Why was it funny? And then now it's not, because if anything, it's just gotten better. Like, so I don't understand how all this time later, people are like, well, now it's not funny. And it's like, well, what changed? And the only thing I can come up with is the people. That person thinks it's no longer cool to like the band. And I don't know. I almost feel like subconsciously, it's almost like a metaphor kind of for how people feel about rock and roll sometimes, where it's like, rock's cool. Now it's not. Now I like it again. And it's like, just like what you fucking like, and don't worry about like whatever scene or trend is going through that you feel like you have to slam something because everyone else is slamming it and then like it because everyone else does. Just fucking like it. Like,
there's a lot of stuff I listen to that is horrible. If anybody from the Labeled podcast group is listening to this, I'm a really big fan of Furthermore, and the only song I like for them, by them, is "Are You the Walrus?" And it's really bad white person Christian rap music, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it, because I passed the age of 30, and now I don't care whether something's cool or not. I just care whether or not I like it.
Well, I think that actually speaks to Steel Panther as a whole, is, those guys started, obviously Michael's got an amazing voice. He sounds better than David Lee Roth currently.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously, yeah. Well, because he's not 100 years old. I mean, I don't know. David's not that old, but I don't know. He hasn't taken care of himself.
No, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Is you can tell that these guys care. Everything might come across as a joke, but they care. You're not going to find... Michael sounds great at every show. His vocals, as high as they are, like, I think they're playing a lot, like when the set we saw recently was like more of their like kind of metal school, cover set of playing like hits basically of other people's. And it's like, you can't bullshit your way through those songs. Like, those songs demand perfection from everybody because they're timeless. And it's like, you're not going to play an old Van Halen song and be a sloppy, shitty guitar player because people will fucking see right through it. You're not going to be a shitty vocalist because people are going to fucking know how it's supposed to sound.
Right.
And I just think it's weird that Steel Panther doesn't get the credit that they deserve, I think, as musicians, because everyone's too focused on the shtick of it all. And I think that's really a disservice to the band and really a disservice to anybody who may be in the camp of like, I just think they're a joke band and they don't take themselves seriously, so why should I? And it's like, no, but they do. But it is weird, when we kind of touched on it sort of in the interview where, I basically was like, it's been said that the Steel Panther guys tried to make their run of it and being bands and professional musicians and just couldn't make it and did this for shits and giggles, and then that's the thing that fucking takes off.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's also like, why should I take this seriously? Well, I mean, comedians take what they do seriously. I mean, they take comedy seriously. Why wouldn't you? And that's why the music's so good. It'd be because if they were a band that didn't care about the music and about at least having some sort of musical integrity, then every Steel Panther song would be like 23 seconds long, and it would just be like a little snippet, like little joke songs, and each album would have like 47 tracks on it. But
I think what's kind of cool, and with their newer video that they ended up putting out, they made like basically a mini movie, and it's like bands stopped making videos that are like kind of mini movies. Like, it reminded me of, I know we just keep saying this band in reference, but I mean, it just is what it is. But like, Van Halen with their Hot for Teacher, like that was a full-on music video that had a concept from start to finish, and it played out a storyline and so forth. And I think it's fun to see a band just, in the day and age where people are like, why make music videos? No one cares. And it's like, they do shit because, again, it's just about having fun. And I think that's the thing that I really enjoyed, A, about this interview, A, about the band, and C, about going to see them live, is it's just fucking unapologetically fun. And I don't know, in a world now where we are taking shit way too fucking seriously, it's fun to see and be able to experience something just so free.
Yeah, definitely.
All that said, we're going to kind of slowly start wrapping this up. We got some cool shit actually on the horizon. I don't necessarily want to talk too much about it, but you will be seeing some really interesting shit here from us. We're going to be doing a fun little collaborative series with somebody here pretty soon. Actually, a few somebodies. So we'll probably just drop those. We're not really going to announce them. We're just going to fucking put them out as they come. So
they're going to jump out at you.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for those. They're going to be a little bit off the beaten path of what we normally do here, but I know I'm very excited to do this. And it's, like we were saying in our recap of 2019 episode, we're trying to push the show into a few different avenues and try to just do different things that we enjoy. So it's kind of cool when, some of these band people are starting to reach out to us and just kind of being like, hey, thinking about doing X, Y, and Z. What do you think about that? And it's like, sure, let's do that. Let's be collaborative and have fun. All that said, if you'd like to keep up with Steel Panther, super easy. Steel Panther, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. However, Twitter is Steel_Panthers, so I guess some asshole got Steel Panther before they could. So fuck that person. You can go over and keep up with everything going on with them over at SteelPantherRocks.com. If you would like to keep up with Michael Starr, Instagram, Twitter, Michael Starr. Apologies to him, condolences through the lady that left him that I saw in that video. That seemed like, they had a thing and it didn't last. And, he's getting under some people. So, I mean...
hey, all the time. Right now.
All the time.
Right now.
Van Halen, again. If you would like to keep up with Metal Nexus, you can find them simply enough, metalnexus.net, Facebook at Metal Nexus, Instagram, metal.nexus, and Twitter at metal_nexus, and Dan will tell you where he can be found.
Well, I could be found all over the interwebs, but in a couple of easier places than others. You could try to find me on Reddit. Good luck with that. But I am there. I'm just kidding. I'm under Discuss Metal Dan, so, upvote all my stuff. But, I'm also on Facebook under Daniel Terry, Twitter at Discuss Metal Dan, Gmail, danandjoeshow@gmail.com, my other podcast, Discography Discussion, discussmetal.com, pretty much all over the place.
And if you would like to keep up with all things this podcast, it is very simple. BrewSpeak Pod, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check us out on YouTube. A lot of people have been finding our various shows over there, leaving comments. That is greatly appreciated. That's why we put it there, is to have people find it in the medium or capacity that you happen to listen to things. So it's really cool to keep seeing people finding our show and commenting. Again, strongly encourage. If you have an opinion on the show, let us know. However you want it to be. Doesn't matter. We appreciate all of it. Rate, review, subscribe. We're going to try to hit on that a little bit more this year. It's the same thing as you hear on every other podcast. Just wherever you're listening to this on, I'm sure there is a place to rate it and review it. Give us what you think. Preferably 5 stars, but if not, whatever. Also, we have pins. $15 gets you one shipped anywhere here in the U.S. If you live internationally, let us know. We will figure out something that works for you. We are trying to get Dan to Furnace Fest. More bands just got announced, if you can believe that.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to make some hard choices when I'm planning out who I'm gonna see. But that's the thing too, is I'm probably just gonna be running around like a chicken with my head cut off, just trying to get chats. So
yeah, and you won't be able to see anybody.
Probably not. I'll be like, yeah, you guys had a great set. They're like, we didn't see you there.
Yeah. It'll be a lot like Sonic Temple Festival, which we are getting ready to gear up for our pre-Sonic Temple Festival coverage and all that kind of stuff, because we are looking forward to going back to Columbus, Ohio, to Sonic Temple and going to see all of that. So Dan and I are going to try to hit up more festivals and all that kind of shit. So buy some pins. Help us go to these things. We are trying. If you would like to keep up with our show sponsors, their they're trying to hook us up by giving you guys cool shit and all that kind of stuff. So if you would like to go to On Point Pomade, go to onpointpomade.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, On Point Pomade. Use our code BSP15 and you get 15% off your total order. Keep your hair and beard looking great. Start the new year, new you. Be looking good. Keep your shit on point. On Point Pomade. Go to the Bean Bastard, beanbastard.com, Facebook and Instagram at the Bean Bastard. Get you some delicious coffee. Kickstart those early mornings. You know, what better combo? Good looking hair, good looking beard. You got a nice coffee in your hand. You're ready to fucking tackle the day. Again, new year, new you. Do it. Let them know we sent you. And for the Brewtally Speaking Podcast, I am John.
And I am Dan.
And we will talk to you all next time.